This is my final update for One Book July, and I started out with this particular notebook, which is a personal size traveler's notebook bifold that is modified by adding the rings for a personal size planner. And I thought that the One Book July was really great in the sense that I was really focusing on the system, and so for about 3 weeks I was really trying different inserts, trying DIY fish inserts, trying Cocoa Daisy, trying a lot of individual things to try to figure out how to make the system work so that I was tracking everything that I wanted to, making sure that I wasn't missing appointments. And what I realized was there were two problems. One was the size of the personal is just, I think, a tiny bit too small for the number of appointments that I have per day. And then the other item is that even though I love rings for certain things like reference materials, I think rings are just not going to work for me when it comes to writing, and I need to be able to be in the planner and write when I'm on the train, and the Traveler's Notebook does that really well. So I am sticking with this one. It's worked well for the past week. I never thought twice about it. It's working out really, really well. So I'm going to leave this as a separate thing. And what I'm going to focus on right now are these two notebooks. So instead of using this as my daily planner, what I'm doing is using it for a Kanban system for keeping reference materials and project plan. I will show you. So I have the same setup. I have the rings inside the Traveler's Notebook. I still have my One Book July that I'm kind of writing in and just keeping track of everything. I have a lot of inserts that I've just kind of thought about and kept, and I'll go through that probably, a month from now. Right now, I'm going to show you what I've made, which are what are called Kanban kind of boards. And what Kanban is, and I'll show you maybe this one, is that it is a particular system that is set up to manage projects and to allow for some more flexibility and to see individual tasks within a project. And especially with team management, I can show you some of the benefits of having something like this. And there's some great videos on YouTube that I looked at to kind of understand maybe how this would work in a planner and for what I do. So let's say we take a particular project. What I did is first I would build the board, and so I built a whole bunch of these, and you can see the way that it works is I have this piece of kind of heavier cardstock, or what I did for some of them was I used a dashboard from Cocoa Daisy and our little inserts from Cocoa Daisy because the artwork is so pretty. This is like a happy scrappy mailer that I have. The Cocoa Daisy, let me see if I can find one. Cocoa Daisy dashboards though are just so beautiful. So I love those. I can do a video if people want on how I make these. But the way that it works is I wanted this to be a little sturdier. So this is the first insert so that the rings, this can be utilized over and over again, and that's why but there is a piece of cardstock or something heavier right here. And then something like this particular one, a Cocoa Daisy dashboard, and then another Cocoa Daisy dashboard to give it some extra strength. So you have a dashboard, and then for me, what I'm going to do is use a Post-it, and I'll show you why I'm using these Post-its, to signify what the project name is. And then I think I'm going to have, maybe other details about the project. It may have a goal, it may have a deadline, it may have a budget, something like that. Then you have different areas of the kind of workflow. And the workflow will have a backlog. So this is everything that needs to be done for this particular project to be completed. And the backlog could be, and I'll show you an example in a little bit. Then once you have identified all of the backlog, you're going to prioritize all of those tasks to see which one is going to be the most important to the least, and then the most important is going to be on the top. You can do it in different ways, maybe the most difficult one or the easiest one, depending on how your team works or how you think about things. And then once you have this list of priorities, you have whatever you're going to do first on top, you take the one item on the top, you move it over to the to-do. Now, to-do is a little bit different than how we think about it in a planner. To-do is going to be the next action, in a sense. So, and I could put that instead as a name, next actions. And then the actual in progress means that you're actively working on it. And then that way, let's say you stop in the middle of the item that you're working on, and you go and someone calls you away, and then you come back and like, oh, what was I working on? Oh, I was working on this particular item. And then once you've finished that item, it's no longer in progress, it's completed. Then you put it into the done category. And depending on whether it's team or how the project is set up, you may want to have some milestones and then have a time where maybe a particular part of the project should be celebrated, and then that way it can go into the celebration area, and that can be another planned activity. This last one, because I don't know if you can tell, this is dotted paper, and it's Rhodia number 19. I believe it's 8.5 by 12 size, so it's not a legal size, but it's bigger than a regular A4 letter type of paper. And then what I did was I just took the whole piece, I sandwiched it in, put some double-sided tape on either side here, then folded it so that it spares the rings on the other side when it's folded, and use an accordion fashion to let it go back and forth. And then on this side, this is a Cocoa Daisy insert, and I just cut it again so that it's more narrow than the actual dashboard. And then I also put a little tab that I sandwiched in between so that I could pull this out. Now the way that this is set up right now, it's double-sided. So if I go to the other side and I have it closed, I have one project on this side, and then I have another project on this side. And so this project on is now going to be folded out to the left. But I wanted to keep it the same order as going left to right because I wanted the project name on the top, so I can kind of flip between projects and know which one I wanted to go to when I'm looking for something. Okay, so that's one part of this. So when I created the dashboards, then I created a certain set of projects, because one of the things I realized was I was doing a lot of different things, but I wasn't completing anything. And so what wound up happening is it just felt like I wasn't getting anything accomplished. So I'm going to try to just have, maybe 2 work projects, and then maybe 1 to 2 personal projects. And these projects are fairly big, so it's going to be a lot of work, but I think one of the problems is if I don't focus on something, then I'll get a lot of little things done, and then the big picture kind of gets lost. So what I wound up doing was, like this particular one is to kind of overhaul the kitchen. So I still need to write in the goal, the timeline. It probably will have a modest budget, but I should do that. It has Mrs. here because we have Mr. and Mrs. types of projects for home. And this is going to be my particular one, working on the kitchen. So what we did is we brainstormed a lot of what was going on, and I'll show you how we did that. I can show you the other book. We did this actually on the Kanban paper accordion fold out, and what wound up happening was I wasn't going to keep everything on those accordion things, so I am using this particular personal size traveler's notebook as kind of the go-to for the projects. And so this is a particular project. We've mapped it out, and because it's not a priority, I am not actually going to start it, but I wanted to think about it, brainstorm, and kind of do a brain capture about it. And so I put all this to kind of get it out of my mind, to know that I will eventually do it. It's just not the priority at the moment. Then there's another thing about cleaning, organizing the house. That kind of just happens, but I want to do it in a systematic way. And you'll see that this particular project has multiple areas of the house. And so what wound up happening was we prioritized the item. We used the kitchen every single day, so the kitchen became the priority item. And so what wound up happening was, now that this is in line, I can take kitchen. But I'm not going to take this off yet because this is actually a project in and of itself. So then I have the project kitchen, and when I took a look at this, we had like different parts of the kitchen that we needed to kind of overhaul, kind of figure out a little bit better. So what wound up happening is we ordered it, and then I took the top, I think 2 off, and then put that into the project planner, which is this one. So this is kind of a reference storage for project ideas. And then this is going to be the one that I'm actively managing projects with. And so let's see if we can go to this one. Let's find it. So here is Project Kitchen. And even though this is a sub kind of task or sub project of clean and organize the house, I'm still just going to give it its own name. And then we have some of the other items that are higher priority than the ones that we saw just now in the other kind of backup project book. And the only reason that I'm not putting it all on one page is you could see there's a ton of little backlogs, and it can be overwhelming if you see too much. So it's good to just prioritize things and then put a manageable number of items in your kind of view. And then you can say, okay, out of those, what is the next item? And the next item was stove. Since we use the stove a lot, I wanted to make sure that the organization around the stove is the thing I focus on. And because I'm still kind of just planning this for this weekend, the idea was I put it here, and then this weekend I'm going to move it over to the in progress area. And let's say the mister wants to come and take a look at some of the projects that we're working on, and maybe he wants to help. You know, he's like kind of bored with his project. He wants to see what the next project is for me. Then he can actually see that it's in progress. So he can either ask me what I'm doing and where I'm in, or he can just say, okay, well, what I can do is work on the refrigerator. I'm going to move it over to the to-do. He can even assign himself it if he wants. You can put name here so that you know who is doing it. You can put the date that it got moved to the in progress. So that you know how long that has been in progress. Maybe it's got installed somehow. Once I finish the stove, I can then go to done, and I can put another date on it so that I know when it was completed. And then that way I have that information here. Their planner, but this gives you a little bit more of a progression without having to always be putting stove on my, keep it here, and then just know what I need to do. Like maybe I need to clean the burners. And just so you know, if you do have projects that may be tasks that you do all the time. So like this particular one is for a work project. I'm going to write a paper. I kind of know a few different things about the paper. And what I'm going to do is then have my backlog. And the backlog for this particular project is going to pretty much be the same. But I'm probably not going to write the names necessarily on it. If it's a project that I'm doing, tasks are very much the same each time, it may be better to keep it in, at least for the dates and kind of time tracking, would be better in a table of some sort. But this is more to kind of look at flow throughout and kind of get an idea of what's going on in the project from a timeline standpoint, where it actually is visually easy to see how things are going in the project. So this is the Kanban system. When I'm getting to the in progress, like something related to the stove, what I might do is then go to my planner and then put something, either schedule it here or put it on somewhere within the week, a very specific next action that was listed. And then that way I don't have to have all the project, and I don't have to, always be constantly thinking about all the areas. I'm thinking about the project in a more global fashion, and then this gets the granular part where you're thinking about task to task from day to day, what you need to do to accomplish things. That is, I think, pretty much it for project planning. And I am super happy with this guy. And then these guys I've been carrying back and forth to work with me just because I like to look at them, but not because I'm actually going into them. So for the past week I had them. We started the project stuff last weekend, and after a week I have been so focused on work that I didn't get to do any of the specific tasks related to home projects, and so I really wasn't using this. So I think I can keep these at home and kind of lighten my load on the train. I'm going to rethink this a little bit because I do have some reference material, but like I said, I had this with me for a whole week and I never needed it, so maybe there's some ways that I can keep this digital. Alright, thank you so much, and I hope your One Book July went well and you learned a lot about yourself, your system, and I hope you're loving your planner. Bye!